Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from amandacrochets.com, and in today's tutorial I'm going to teach you how to make this beautiful stitch. This is the shell and column stitch, as I'm going to call it. And somebody that follows me on Facebook as well as my YouTube channel recommended that I give this a try. So I was up for the challenge and I decided to go ahead and complete this stitch. Now this is a really pretty stitch that you can use for a scarf or a blanket or anything in between, and I feel like I'm going to be making a blanket with this stitch very soon. So I will go ahead and show you everything you need to know as far as the stitch multiple in order to make this smaller or wider, and as well as how to complete each of these rows. Now it looks very complicated, but it's actually really simple once you get started. So let's begin today's tutorial on how to make this shell and column stitch. For today's tutorial, you're going to need some worsted weight yarn. You can use whatever worsted weight yarn in any color that you would like. I'm just going to be using some of this Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted yarn, and I'm just using this just because I'm just using this as a sample to show you how to make the stitch today. So this is Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted, and it says like new, wash after wash. This is 100% anti-pilling acrylic. It's 90 yards or 82 meters. It's 1.76 ounces or 50 grams. And I got this with one of my kits that I showed, I think, in a previous video, but this is just, you know, leftover skein from one of those projects. And again, it's a 4 medium worsted weight yarn, and it's been tested and approved by against 350 harmful substances. And it's also machine wash, warm, tumble dry, normal. So you're going to need some worsted weight yarn, and then you're going to need a size I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Now if you did want to use a lighter weight yarn or a bulkier weight yarn, you can certainly do that with this stitch as well. The only difference is you want to look on your yarn label, and usually on your yarn label it will tell you what the recommended hook size that they recommend. So in this case they recommend a US I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. However, if you wanted to use a different yarn, I would just look off your label and use the recommended hook size for that particular yarn. So for today's tutorial, you're going to make a multiple of 15 plus 7. So that means you're going to get any number and times it by 15, and then once you're satisfied by your multiple, then you're going to add 7 more chains to the very end. So I'm just going to do a multiple of 15 times 2, which is 30, and I'm going to add 7 more chains, so I'm going to make a total of 37 chains today. So to make a chain, you're going to do yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue until you have 37 chains, or a multiple of 15 plus 7. Okay, once you have your 37 chains or your multiple of 15 plus 7, we can begin row 1. For row 1, you're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook. So the loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 4 chains from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in this 4th chain, you're going to make a double crochet. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that 4th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that is your double crochet. Now for the skipped stitches, the 3 skip stitches, you're going to want to put a stitch marker on the top of that 3rd chain. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So that chain 3 that we skipped is going to count as your first double crochet. So if you're new to crochet, I highly recommend putting a stitch marker on the top of that chain 3, just so you know that is the very first stitch of your row. Next, you're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 3 chains. So again, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, make another double crochet into that next chain, and finally 1 more double crochet into that next chain. So essentially what you want is 5 double crochets. So you have that chain 3 is your first double crochet, and then you have 4 double crochets. Next, we're going to skip 2 chains and we're going to start our shell. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in that next chain you're going to start your shell. So your shell is going to be 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in that very next chain you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, and you're going to go right back into that same chain that you just made those 2 double crochets, and you're going to add in 2 more double crochets, and that is going to be your shell. Okay, next you're going to skip 4 chains and you're going to work a shell into that next chain. So be sure that you do not skip over this stitch. So you want to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and in the stitch after that you want to repeat this shell. So again, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain space. So here's what your work is going to look like so far. Next, you're going to skip 2 chains and you're going to work 1 double crochet into the next 5 chains. So skip 2 chains, 1 and 2, and in the next chain after that you're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 5 chains. Okay, after that you are going to skip 2 chains and you're going to work a shell into that next chain. So skip 2, and in this chain after that you're going to double crochet 2 times, chain 1, and double crochet 2 more times in that same chain space. Next, you're going to skip 4 chains, and in the stitch after that you're going to complete another shell. So skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the stitch after that you want to make your shell, which again is that 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain space. Okay, next you're going to skip 2 chains, so 1 and 2, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in the next 5 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, if you're new to crocheting, you want to put your stitch marker in the very last stitch of your row. So this completes row 1. You're going to start and end with 5 double crochets, and you're going to have 5 double crochets in between each of your shells, and you're going to have 2 sets of shells. So you're going to have 5 double crochets, 2 shells, 5 double crochets, 2 shells, 5 double crochets, and so on. So this is what row 1 looks like. So let's begin row 2. So for row 2, you're going to chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet. So for row 2, you're going to double crochet in each of the double crochets across, so you're going to have 5 total. So again, this chain 3 counts as your first double crochet, so you're going to skip this very first stitch, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now again, if you're a beginner, you want to insert your stitch marker into the very top of that chain 3 that you made. So you're going to have 4 double crochets and a chain 3 for a total of 5 double crochets all together. Next, we're going to start our repeat. So you're going to work a shell into the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. So right here you have your shell stitch, and in here is your chain 1. So you're going to skip these 2 stitches right here, and you're going to go right in that center of your chain 1 space, and you're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain 1 space. So essentially your shell is going to sit right on top of the shell from the previous row. Next, you're going to find your next chain 1 space, which is right here, and you're going to make another shell, which again is 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. So as you can see, your stitches are sitting right on top of one another. Next, you're going to skip the shell, which is these 2 double crochets right here, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of these 5 double crochets right here. So skip these 2, and in the next stitch make 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochet stitches. Okay, once you have that, you're going to find your next chain 1 space, which is going to be right here, and you're going to make a shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain 1 space. And again, your shells are going to just sit right on top of one another. Find your next chain 1 space, and you're simply going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Okay, and then finally you're going to skip the next 2 double crochets, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the chains, in each of the double crochets across to the end. So skip 2 and make 1 double crochet in the next 4 double crochets. And when you get to the very end, you should have that stitch marker, or you have your chain 3. So you're going to count up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And in the top of that chain 3, where your stitch marker is located, that is where you're going to put your final double crochet. So again, you should have 5 double crochets, 2 shells, 5 double crochets, 2 shells, 5 double crochets. And that is row 2. So to complete this pattern, you're just going to go ahead and repeat row 2 over and over again for the entire pattern. And again, you can make this pattern into a scarf, or you can make it into a blanket, whatever you would like to make this. So again, chain 3, and your chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet. You're going to go into that second stitch right here, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 double crochets, and then that chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet, so you'll have 5 double crochets at the beginning. Next, you're going to find that chain 1 space in between your shell stitch, and you're going to work right into that chain 1 space and make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in that same chain 1 space. Again, you're going to find that next shell, and in between that chain 1, you're going to make another shell, so 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Find your section where you have your 5 double crochets, and you're going to make 1 double crochet in each of the top of those double crochets. So skip these 2 and work 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochets. Find your next shell, and in that chain 1 space, make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Find that next chain 1 space, which is right here, and make another shell, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And then finally, for the end, you're going to skip 2 double crochets, and you're going to work 1 double crochet in the top of the next 4 double crochets. And then when you get to that chain 3, you're going to count up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And in the top of that chain 3, you're going to work your final double crochet. So again, this is what the pattern looks like. And you're just going to continue to repeat row 2 over and over again. And you always want to make sure that your shells are in between that chain 1 space, so they sit right on top of one another. And you should always have 5 double crochets in between each of your cluster of shell stitches. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on how to make the shell and column stitch, as I'm going to call it. And I hope you enjoy this beautiful stitch and find a wonderful pattern to make with it. As I said, I will probably make a blanket pattern out of this stitch, and if I do, I will be sure to include it on my YouTube channel in the near future. So thank you so much again for joining me and learning how to make the tutorial today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!